We are back. We are back, and today we're doing something real quick. I promise the video won't take 10 minutes long. It's probably only gonna be like a 5-minute video. Today we are talking about and tying in peep sights. Little peepers.
21-inch beard.
Yes! Okay, continuing this bow build. Last episode of this bow build, we put on this RL1 3-pin sight from Redline. And here's the thing. I already tied the peep on. I forgot to tell you. Here's the key with before you tie on any peep is picking out the proper size. What can be troubling about picking out the proper size is you really don't know the size of your scope ring without having that mounted and having a peep in. So variables kind of can be off. You can move the scope either further away from your riser or closer to your riser to match your peep. What you want when you're at full draw, you want this peep to either completely cover that circle or to be at least on the very edge. There's two options what you could do. Mine is set up so it's just on the very edge of this. So my peep, the circle of my peep, focuses it right down this sight right here. For a hunting setup, you really want to have a bigger peep if you can do it, just because it lets more light in. Now in my case, I'm not quite a large peep kind of guy, because two things. I shoot with my eyes open, both of them, not just one. I mean, it's a good thing we shoot with our eyes open. So I don't need a big peep. Mine is set up at a 3/16, so I'm keeping my sight out just a little bit further. Basically, when I'm at full draw and I come back and I look through it, I just close one eye real quick to make sure I'm centered up, and then both eyes are open. That's how I operate. You might be different, and that's your problem, that's your deal, whatever, I don't care. Anyhow, we're slapping a peep into this old, I don't even know what this is, this old diamond bow. It's a youth to adult bow. It doesn't have a peep in it. I'm gonna show you how I tie it. So first thing we kind of got to do, if our string was in place here, just imagine that like a brand new bow string would be in place. We got to press this bow just a little bit. So if you're looking for an affordable bow press, I do recommend this Bowmaster. At least I can speak on experience from it. It has worked quite well for me in the last 8 or 9 years I've been using it. Okay, as you can see, it's just a little bit of slack. This is almost too much slack. Generally speaking, like I said before, usually have a string that marks in the inside of your bowstring, the center. So that's where you'll put your splitter. But since this one doesn't, we need to do our best estimated guess. And you can kind of tell this is coming apart naturally towards the center. No real fibers. So it's split, right? Another good tool that you could use is an actual string splitter. We could do that. Actually, what we will do right now is you'll put this in here if the string was a little tighter and then twist it to open it up. We'll then now back off this little bow press just to kind of make things a little more natural. And then once it's in this position, you take your peep, and there's grooves along the side here. If you can kind of tell, there's little grooves along the side. And you're gonna get this to where the peep is going to be facing the right way. Sounds pretty obvious, right? You only got two options. It's either going to be facing down or it's going to be facing up. So we picked our spot. We're sliding the peep into the spot that we had marked. And you can see kind of, probably not so much on that camera angle, the top of your peep is on an angle up towards the top of the bow. The bottom of the peep is down towards the bow. That's the correct position. Now, it's time to tie it in. There's no real specifics on thread size. I mean, you can go crazy. This is a Diamondback 0.22 diameter. You could use dental floss, it doesn't really matter. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make sure this peep doesn't move from the spot we have marked on our string. And all we're gonna do is do a couple overhand ties, overhand knots. Get her down there, come on now. Pull it tight. We're gonna do another overhand knot on the bottom and another one on the top. And then once we get our other overhand knot on the top, so we did top, bottom, top, now we're gonna end this in a square knot, cut the tag ends, and then burn it into place. Good, that is tied in now. That is not gonna come out of that string. So now what we wanna do, since that's tied in the string, we wanna even get it even tighter. But we're gonna get this really nice and tight up on the string, so it really is choking it down. All right, we're gonna do this two different ways. The first way is the general way I do it. You make a short little tag end, and then you have a longer piece. The short little tag end you're going to lay over top of the string. You see that laying over the top of the string right here? You're going to wrap this about 5-6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish. I might have went one more than I needed to. And then we're going to keep this tight. All right, you can see that the threads are nice and tightly stacked. We still have our tag end right here. We're going to end up pulling that through. This is burying the backside. So we just buried the backside of that string. And we're going to wrap it a few more times. But before we wrap it a few more times, I'm going to lay the tag end back, out of the way, and start wrapping. We'll say we'll do 5 more times. So we're now going to pull this tight, get it all tucked in down, get this nice and tight together, this snug. You can see now we have this tag end sticking out of the back. That's going to get cut off and burnt. So an easy way to do this, instead of like trying to make a whole bunch of loops and then feeding the string back through, I'm going to wrap this backwards. So we're going to go underneath this loop we just created right here, and we're going to bring it back down towards where we already started tying our knot. 1 time through, 2 times through, 3 times through, 4 times, 5 times, and to match up with the bottom of our knot, we'll go 1 more time for 6. Now you have all these wraps underneath your big loop here. All of these are underneath your loop. We're going to take this tag end of all those spare wraps and we're going to lay it backwards. We're going to lay it back towards the knot we had already started back here. And now we're going to continue our wrap. What this is going to do, it's going to unwrap up here while wrapping down here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you see how you end up with a loop? You got this loop right here where you got your tag end buried. You're just going to start pulling that tag end through, and it's tied. It is tight, but it's not super tight because we haven't reefed on anything yet. So we're going to push this up. Push it up towards our peep sight to get it really nice and tight in there. You can see how we created a really narrow window at the bottom. Now you can pull really hard on your tag ends using an Allen wrench or fingers. In this case, I'm just using my fingers. And the bottom of that loop is done. That is one way to tie this in. Pretty simple. It's a little more complicated, honestly, than the other piece. We're going to cut these tags, burn them, and I'll show you the simpler way. All we are honestly going to do is tie a bunch of overhand knots. We're going to start with this overhand first right at the V, right there. We're going to pull it tight, and then we're just going to keep working our way around. We can bring it, you can either tie knots on the bottom or you can just loop it through, making sure you're on the same spot and pull it tight. This is a simple way, instead of trying to remember how to loop things and back feed and blah, blah, blah. We're just working our way all the way around, continuing our knots up to towards the peep sight. This way is a little bit more of a pain to take off if you wanted to change your serving string, because it's a lot to cut or it's a lot to unravel. It is so much easier than trying to remember how to loop things and bury lines and all that kind of stuff. Pull it tight, and we'll watch that string just tighten up a little bit. Not much. We're going to call that good. That's a good spot right there to be. Now we'll just end this with a square knot on the top. So you did an overhand on the top, and then you just do another overhand and make your square knot, pull that tight, cut our tag ends, and melt them off. I hope this video helped you. I hope I kept it under 5, 6, 7 minutes like I was kind of trying to promise in the beginning. This is almost the end of our bow build. The only thing we got left to do is slap on stabilizers and the quiver, which is super simple. So I'm just going to kind of talk about the products when we get to that point and tell you why I like the products. And then the purpose of a stabilizer and a back bar, the way I use it. I got to get back to it. I'm going to cut the arrows. That's another future episode. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. After a while, crocodile. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.